On Thursday, the U.S. House passed a bill called the SAVE Act, short for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. It would require documentary proof of U.S. citizenship for anyone registering to vote in federal elections.
On this vote, the yeas are 220, the nays are 208. The bill is passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Republicans say it's about preventing non-citizens from voting.
In the SAVE Act, we can ensure that only eligible Americans are registering to vote. Additionally, the SAVE Act is aligned with President Trump's recent executive order, preserving and protecting the integrity of American elections, which will help restore trust in American elections, enhance election administration, and make our elections secure. This legislation is just one step that we can take to ensure President Trump's executive order could not be undone. Americans deserve to have confidence in our elections.
Passed the SAVE Act today, as you know, and that ensures that you got to have identification. You have to prove your identity because only U.S. citizens should vote and decide U.S. elections. It's already in federal law, but there's no mechanism currently to ensure that that law is always followed, and this measure, the SAVE Act, will help make sure that is true.
Democrats and voting rights groups say it could disenfranchise millions, especially people who are already legally registered.
What exactly would the SAVE Act do? It would create enormous burdens for every American citizen who seeks to register to vote. Let's dig into the details. As my Republican colleague and friend admitted at the Rules Committee, under the SAVE Act, most Americans would be unable to register to vote using their real ID. Further, under the SAVE Act, almost 70 million American women will be unable to register to vote using their birth certificate simply because they changed their name upon marriage. The bill would disenfranchise survivors of domestic abuse who have changed their names for safety purposes, which is truly shocking. And the SAVE Act will also have a steep financial cost to American citizens because, yes, the SAVE Act does allow Americans to use their passports to register to vote. But half of all Americans do not have a passport. And a passport costs $130 plus additional fees. So the SAVE Act will cost American voters who do not have passports and choose to use them billions of dollars to secure them.
Why it's controversial? Here's the thing. It's already illegal for non-citizens to vote in federal elections. Doing so can lead to felony charges and even deportation. And when it does happen, it's rare, and often by mistake. But the SAVE Act goes further. It would reject all voter registration applications that don't include one of these documents: a U.S. passport, a birth certificate with a government photo ID, a military ID showing the birthplace, or a real ID license that clearly indicates citizenship, which most don't. Who gets affected? Republicans say current registered voters won't be affected unless they move, change their name, or re-register. That's when the new rules kick in. Voting rights groups argue that millions of Americans don't have quick access to a passport or birth certificate, especially the elderly, rural voters, and women whose names change after marriage. Even worse, most real ID-compliant licenses don't show your birthplace or confirm citizenship, meaning even legal voters may be turned away. The politics behind it. This bill was a top priority for Donald Trump and House Republicans heading into the 2024 election. They say even one illegal vote undermines confidence in democracy. Democrats say this bill is a solution in search of a problem, and it will block thousands more from voting than it prevents from voting illegally. Take Michigan. Out of 5.7 million ballots in 2024, only 15 possible non-citizen votes were flagged. That's 0.0002%. The bill now heads to the Senate, where it faces an uphill battle. Republicans don't have the votes to overcome a Democratic filibuster, but the debate over voting and citizenship is far from over.